Right now, beneath 4 feet of frozen snow, a heart is beating 5 times per minute. The animal attached to that heart has not eaten in 3 months, has not moved in 3 months. Its body temperature is 2 degrees above freezing. It is not dying, it is waiting. This is Canada, in the grip of winter. And what you are about to see is how everything else survives it. This is Canada, not the Canada of cities and maple syrup and polite conversations. This is the other Canada. 4 million square kilometers of boreal forest, frozen tundra, and ice so deep it swallows entire lakes whole. Here, winter is not a season. Winter is a filter, a biological pressure so extreme it has shaped every creature that survives it into something almost unrecognizable. What you are about to see is not just survival. It is evolution, happening in real time, in the coldest classroom on Earth. A white shape moves across the snow. If you blink, you miss it. If you look away for 1 second, it is gone. The Arctic fox weighs 4 kilograms, roughly the same as a house cat, and it lives permanently in one of the most lethal environments on the planet, not despite its small size, but because of how completely it has been engineered by cold. Its winter coat is not simply thick. It is a biological masterpiece. 2 separate layers. The inner layer traps warm air directly against the skin. The outer layer repels wind, moisture, and ice. The same fur extends down to the pads of its feet, turning each paw into a natural snowshoe. Its ears have physically shortened compared to summer, reducing the surface area that loses heat. Its snout has contracted, minimizing exposure to freezing air. The Arctic fox does not fight the cold. It has become the cold. But the coat is only part of the story. Beneath the snow, a lemming is moving, 30 centimeters down, under a frozen crust, in a tunnel the fox cannot see. The fox stops, tilts its head to an angle of 40 degrees, listens. It is using Earth's magnetic field, a sensory ability so precise that the fox can triangulate the exact position of prey it cannot see, hear clearly, or smell through packed snow. It waits. 3 seconds, 5 seconds. Then it leaps, straight up, nearly a meter off the ground, and drives its entire head through the snow surface like an arrow. When it pulls back, there is a lemming in its jaws. This behavior is called mousing, and the fox executes it with a success rate that trained predators 3 times its size cannot match. Not every creature fights winter. Some simply choose to leave it behind. 3 meters underground, below the frost line, in a chamber lined with dry grass, the Richardson's ground squirrel is doing something that should not be biologically possible. Its body temperature has dropped from 37 degrees Celsius to 2 degrees. Its heart rate has fallen from 300 beats per minute to fewer than 5. Its metabolism is running at less than 5% of normal. By every clinical definition, this animal is almost dead. But it is not dead. It is waiting. If the Arctic fox survives winter by becoming invisible, and the ground squirrel by disappearing entirely, then the moose survives by refusing to care. 700 kilograms, 2 meters tall at the shoulder, the largest member of the deer family on Earth. The moose does not hide from winter. It walks directly into it. Those long legs that seem awkward in summer become engineering genius in deep snow. Each stride clears a snowpack that would trap a wolf, a coyote, or a human completely. Those wide hooves spread its body weight across the snow surface the way snowshoes work. And the coat. Every individual guard hair is hollow, not just thick, hollow, filled with trapped air that insulates the moose's body so effectively that snow can accumulate on its back without melting. The moose is so well insulated, it does not even warm the snow it stands on. Inside, its 4-chambered stomach is doing something remarkable. It is fermenting bark, dead wood, the stripped branches of willow and birch that no other large mammal can digest. This fermentation process does not just extract nutrition from impossible food, it generates heat. The moose's digestive system is simultaneously a food processor and a furnace. In the coldest months, the moose does not eat to live. It eats to stay warm. Under the ice, something is moving. The surface of the pond is frozen solid. Nothing should be alive down there. And yet, through the dark water, a shape cuts smoothly between the lodge and the submerged food cache. The beaver does not migrate. It does not hibernate. It does not evolve a special coat or develop magnetic senses. It builds. The beaver lodge is not a nest. It is a feat of engineering that took an entire family months to complete. Walls up to 1 meter thick, constructed from interlocked branches, logs, and mud that freezes solid in winter, becoming harder than packed earth. The interior chamber sits above the waterline, accessible only through underwater tunnels that never freeze. Inside, on the coldest night of the year, when air temperature outside drops to -30, the lodge interior stays just above freezing, warmed entirely by body heat and the insulating mass of the walls. But what protects the beaver family through 5 months of isolation is not the lodge. It is what is under the water. Starting in August, the entire family begins felling trees, cutting branches, dragging timber into deep water and anchoring it to the pond bottom with mud and stones. They will store several tons of wood before the ice seals the surface. This is their refrigerator, an underwater food cache large enough to last until spring. When the ice closes above them, the beavers are ready. They have turned their pond into a fortress. Predators above cannot reach them. Cold cannot penetrate their walls. Starvation cannot touch them as long as the cache holds. The beaver does not adapt to winter. It engineers its way around it entirely. Small does not mean weak. In the Canadian winter, small sometimes means smarter. The black-capped chickadee weighs less than 15 grams, roughly the same as a few sheets of paper. It has no den to hide in, no fat reserves large enough to last the winter, no ability to slow its heart to 5 beats per minute. What it has is a brain that changes with the season. Every autumn, the hippocampus of the chickadee physically grows. The region of the brain responsible for spatial memory expands, creating new neurons specifically designed to remember thousands of locations. Because the chickadee spends the autumn hiding seeds, insects, and food fragments across its entire territory, in bark crevices, under lichens, inside hollow stems. It can remember every single one, for months. On the coldest nights, when temperatures fall below -30, the chickadee enters a state called controlled hypothermia. It deliberately drops its body temperature by up to 10 degrees Celsius and reduces its metabolic rate dramatically. It becomes for the night something close to frozen, still alive, but barely. In the morning, it warms itself back up and begins feeding immediately. It must consume food equivalent to 25% of its body weight every single day just to survive. Every calm hour of winter daylight is a race. Feed, cache, remember, repeat. The chickadee does not endure winter. It outthinks it. A sound travels across the frozen landscape. 8 kilometers. That is how far a wolf howl carries in winter air. Dense, cold, still air that conducts sound like a wire. Every member of the pack knows where every other member is. Every moment, no visual contact required, no scent trail needed. In winter, the wolf pack becomes something more coordinated than a hunting group. It becomes a single distributed organism, and winter is where it is most dangerous. Deep snow is not an obstacle for a wolf pack. It is a weapon. When a pack targets a moose, they do not chase it, they direct it. They use knowledge of local terrain built over years to push the moose toward areas of deep powder where its 700-kilogram body sinks with every step, where its energy cost to move doubles, then triples. Where the momentum that makes a moose nearly impossible to bring down in open terrain becomes irrelevant, the wolves rotate at the front of the chase, fresh individuals breaking trail while others recover. The moose has no rotation, no relief, no strategy for a coordinated attack. It cannot outrun and cannot turn to fight effectively. The pack covers 40 kilometers per day in winter, not because it has to, because it knows its territory needs to be read constantly. Carrion found by ravens, movement patterns of prey herds, the condition of rival packs, all of it feeds into a collective intelligence that individual predators cannot achieve. The grey wolf does not just survive Canadian winter, it uses Canadian winter as its primary hunting advantage. High above the tree line, a black shape rides a thermal. The raven has watched everything you just witnessed. The fox hunting beneath the snow, the wolf pack driving a moose through deep powder, the beaver disappearing under the ice. It remembers all of it. The raven's brain, relative to its body size, is comparable to a primate's. It can solve problems, use tools, recognize individual human faces, and remember them for years. Warn an entire flock about a specific person who posed a threat months earlier. In winter, the raven becomes the boreal forest's most sophisticated opportunist. It follows wolf packs, knowing that where there is a coordinated hunt, there will be a carcass. It remembers the location of kills for weeks, returning when the pack has moved on. It recognizes behavioral signs of weakness in other animals, the slight change in gait, the separation from the herd, signs that precede death by hours or days. The raven is not a scavenger who finds death. The raven is a reader of the signs that death is approaching. Indigenous peoples of the Canadian North understood this thousands of years before any scientific study confirmed it. In Inuit and Haida legend, the raven is not a symbol of death. It is a witness to the border between life and what comes after. It appears there not to cause that transition, but because it was smart enough to predict it. Science has now confirmed what traditional observation knew for millennia. The raven is one of the most cognitively complex animals on Earth, and winter in Canada is where that intelligence has its greatest advantage. In October, a grizzly bear approaches its den for the last time this year. It has spent the past 3 months consuming up to 20,000 calories per day. It has gained 2 kilograms daily. Some individuals have nearly doubled their body weight since summer. Every berry, every fish, every root was not just food. It was fuel for a process that is about to begin. The grizzly does not truly hibernate. What it enters is a sleep state far lighter than true hibernation, known as torpor. The grizzly's body temperature drops only slightly, from 38 to 34 degrees Celsius. Its heart rate falls from 50 beats per minute to 8, but it can still wake up. If threatened, if disturbed, if something is wrong, the grizzly can return to full alertness in minutes. And for female grizzlies, the den is not a place of simple rest. In January, in total darkness, in a chamber carved into a north-facing slope under a meter of insulating snow, a pregnant female gives birth. The cubs weigh less than 500 grams. They are born blind, hairless, and completely dependent. The mother never wakes fully. She nurses her cubs in a state between sleep and consciousness, her body converting stored fat into milk rich enough to grow a bear from half a kilogram to several kilograms before spring arrives. She will not eat for 7 months. She will not drink. You just spent time with 8 of the most extraordinary survivors on Earth. A fox that hears through snow. A bear that gives birth without waking up. A bird the size of a letter that outthinks an entire winter. They have been doing this for millions of years. The least we can do is pay attention. If this film moved, you share it. Not for the views, for them. Subscribe to Flying River Amazon for weekly journeys into the wild places that still exist. The Amazon, the Arctic, the places that have not yet been lost. The next one drops soon, and somewhere beneath the snow, a heart is still beating.